Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to go out for a walk and we're going to talk, but first I'm going to see what the wind is. This is my kind of like wind indicator. Big chunk of dog fur. Not much of a breeze today. That's good. I like to see that. Well, stick around. We're going to take a walk and go look more in the desert after this rain. And we're out on our evening walk. Thought I'd take this time to talk about Quartzsite and the area that I've been staying since we're on our last few days here, and then give you some idea about the town, about the area, about the conditions. And first we're going to go up there and then we'll see if we can talk from there. Sorry about the next couple segments. The camera had a mind of its own and decided to change the direction, so their lenses is now up and down instead of long widescreen. Don't know why I did it. Settings were correct, but the camera said, nope, I'm going to do it this way. Just for a couple of little scenes, and then we're back to normal. Here we are at the old mine, and we thought we'd take this time to talk about Quartzsite. Quartzsite is a town that's off in this direction, and it's about, I've heard 2,400 people in the summertime. In the wintertime, when the snowbirds come down, I've heard estimates up to 1 million people. I don't think that's quite right. If I'm doing the estimating, and just from what I've seen around town and what the numbers are, I would say they're probably around 200,000. This is a lot of campgrounds out here. This is mostly BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, and they come down for this wintertime. Well, I did. So we're here to spend our winters, and when the north gets a little warmer, we're going to head out. In a couple, 3 weeks, we'll be one of the snowbirds heading back north. The town of Quartzsite is about 2,400 people. It's out in the southwest corner of Arizona. Parker, Arizona is about 40 miles to the north. Yuma, Arizona is about 80 miles to the south. Blythe, California is about 20 miles behind me to California. And Phoenix is about 2 hours that way. So there's kind of in the middle of nowhere in a way, but it's doable. There's no big box stores here. There's no Walmart. There's no big box stores. This is a locally driven town. So if you want to go to like a big box store, you got to go to Yuma that way, Parker that way, Phoenix that way, or Blythe in California doesn't have a big box. It's got Albertsons and I think Ace Hardware and a few other things, but it's the next bigger little town that's closer by, like 20 miles to the California border. But this is it. This is the old mine. You've seen it, maybe it's in other videos, and we'll work our way around, but we'll talk more about the town of Quartzsite, what I liked, what I didn't like, what there is to do here, what there isn't to do here, and we'll go on from there. One thing you might need to know about Quartzsite is, like I said, there's no big box stores here. There are 2 or 3 dollar stores. There's a Family Dollar, Dollar General, and I think there's a new one being built. It may be Dollar Tree, I'm not for sure. But there's no big box stores here, and there's plenty of gas stations. There's at least 6 for this town. 2 truck stops, because there's a Love's and there's a Pilot, and there's another one on the edge of town that way. I think it's Arco, that's what it's called. But so there's very limited on the groceries. That's why you go to, like I said, Yuma or Parker if you want a Walmart or something bigger. But there are a couple small grocery stores, one called Coyote, one called the Roadrunner, and I think they're just basically the Roadrunner was the one here, and somebody at the Roadrunner got mad and started to create their own one, so they called it Coyote, about a half mile down the same street on the same side of the road. The food's really good. The meats are really good. Fresh produce. Prices are higher. So you got to remember that. They're in the middle of nowhere. If you're wanting to say buy something at Walmart for $2, you're going to spend 3 to 4 here for whatever it is. You know, milk is $5 a gallon. So, and just depending on where you go. But it's a little pricier. But, you know, if you want to take the time and drive to Parker, 45 miles or 40 miles, and or Yuma, 80 miles, and if you know, have a vehicle that's good gas mileage, pretty good, go ahead. It gives you a day trip, gives you something to do, and you can save a few dollars. And you can go to Yuma and see the sights. You can go to Parker and see the lake, and go to Havasu, which is about 80 miles, and see the lake, and kind of get you out. But um, it will save some money if you were able to go there. Me and my bus, not really, because I get 8 miles to gallon, and so I've got to be saving a lot of money to pay for, you know, the fuel to go 80 miles and back. Like I said, it's about $80 or $90 to go to Yuma and back just in my bus. So I got to be saving a lot of money. But we'll move around and we'll work our way up to mine. This is another section of mine. So we'll just keep on going. Another thing you may need to know is where can you eat around here. If you like to go out to eat, they have their nice little restaurants. There's several Chinese restaurants and some Mexican restaurants. They have the classicals, the main name. They have McDonald's, they have Burger King, they have a Taco Bell. Those are in town, and those are right over there. So you can go to the fast food places. There's no big names here yet on the food, but there's plenty of local places. And I found out that it seemed like everybody here has been really friendly, easy to get along with. And just remember, a lot of places here only take cash. So that's something to think about. If you got to have cash, but there's ATMs everywhere. But they work on a pretty much a cash basis out here in the desert of Arizona. They do take cards, but not everybody. And you might wonder, how do you get mail out here in the desert? I use a mail forwarding service called Moon Mountain Mail. They're in town. They're just started this year, so they're really new, and I'm really impressed. They do a really great job. You can get your packages there, you can get your mail there, and they have two different or three different tiers. One is the $69 package, where you don't have to pay for your packages and you get your mail. $89 gets you the package receiving, and you get mail, and you get emails telling you when your packages are in, when they're ready. And the highest one, which is $139, which I think they're out of, is we can claim a domicile and also use that for your mailing address. If you don't have a mailing address, you can mail it there, and to get a package, they charge you $5 per package. If you don't have an account, just mail it to their address, and they'll charge you $5, and you pick it up any size. So it's something to think about. They have a post office which gets general delivery, and let me see, I think it's also free, but I think it's limited to like 1 hour a day, and to get your general delivery mail. So I've heard it's kind of slow and you long lines. Moon Mountain Mail is my preference, and I've heard a lot of people using it, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So if you're in Quartzsite, think about Moon Mountain Mail to get your packages. Now, this town does not have a mail delivery service. So if you're living in this area, you have to pick up your mail at the post office. They don't have mailboxes. So that's something. They don't have a school. The school, I think, they get bus to Ehrenberg, which is about 19 miles that way to the west and right on the California borders, because I don't think there's a school in Quartzsite. They have a pretty big park system. They have 80 acres of park system. In that park system, they have 3 dog pens, or 3 different sizes for your dog parks, small, medium, and large. They have RC cars, RC airplanes, skate tracks, baseball fields, basketball, a lot of stuff in that little park. And I think it's because of the travelers and the RV people that come and stay throughout the winter. And remember this, the RV season, or the season that the LTVA, long-term visitors area, is open is September 15th through April 15th. And a lot of places in town, which is back here, the businesses will close up after April 15th and open up again in September. And the reason for that is, one, most of their business is gone, and through the summer it gets 115 and 25 degrees here, And nobody really wants to be out doing a lot of stuff when it's that hot. It is a desert. It's Arizona. So think about that. Here I've got to watch for rattlesnakes because it's getting time for them. It is the middle of March, a little past, and rattlesnakes are out. But talking about the LTVA, long-term visitors area, which is back behind my shoulder, over there, part of it, it's operated by the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and it's 11,400 acres of area. The permit costs $180 from September 15th through April 15th. Includes water, trash, drops, and sewer dumps. But you have to go get your water, you have to drop off your trash, and you have to go dump your own sewer. There's nothing connected to your vehicle anywhere. But it's $180 for the 7 months, or you can do a 2-week pass for $40 and just renew that every time, every couple of weeks if you want to do that. And it's also good for any of the 12 LTVAs in the area. There's a couple, 3 in California, and there's a couple down south. And you can buy one pass in any of them and bounce back and forth. So if you want to stay, 2 or 3 weeks here, you can go down to Yuma, spend 2 or 3 weeks there, go to California, spend 3 weeks there. It's as long as you're LTVA, your pass that you bought for $180 will cover it. Sorry about the sunlight, but it's getting ready to go down. This town is very friendly and very outgoing to travelers. I have found that very, very nice because it's basically based upon people coming here for the winter, just camping out. And that's, I think, where they get most of their revenue from. But Zen's over there sniffing the ground, so I got to watch them. But they're very, like I said, they're very RV nomad friendly town. I haven't met anybody that's had any issues with anybody. Glad to see people come in. A lot of them have big rig parking for the bigger vehicles, and a lot of bicyclists come through. A lot of maybe people in vans and cars and RVs and you name it are out here. But like I said, they do take cash. A lot of them. Most of them don't take cards. Tyson Wells is a little shopping center which is back behind me, and that's where they do their big tent and their tent vendors. They have a couple of discount groceries in the area, but you can buy discounted items that are out of date or close to it for half price what you would in the big store. I've been there a couple times and I found pretty good deals, and the food I get has been very, very good. It hasn't been any problem with it. The chocolate might melt in the summertime, but other than that, it's pretty good. But we're off to do some more walking, but this is more of the LTV area back here, the long-term visitors area. And a lot of people have gone because the permit ends on April 15th, so it's a little less than a month away. And it's supposed to be in the mid 80s this week, and I think the people are just getting ready to get out. We'll be leaving in the next couple weeks, but I just want to give you an idea of what this town and this area is like. You might ask, what is there to do in Quartzsite? As I mentioned, they've got a big park area. You can take your dog on the dog park. If you do skateboards, you can go there. You ride bikes. You've got all this vast mountain area, all these trails. This whole area is just open to be walked upon, driven upon, and there's hundreds of miles of ATV trails that are everywhere. There's mountains to climb. That's where we're on top. Just a few miles to the west is Dome Rock, and that's where you can go and do some mining in the work. You can go and dig in some hillsides and look for crystal quartz, gold, whatever you want. Hike around there. And there's paragliding. He's not out today, but usually he's around. So there's all kinds of things to do if you want to keep yourself busy. Or you can just sit in your vehicle or at your camp and just do nothing. So the nice thing is there's all this open space. You can visit with the neighbors. As you can see behind me right now, they're scattered throughout. The bus is right there, and we're kind of limited on area right now because there used to be about another 10 or 12 vehicles all around this little spot. Now they're all gone, but you can be as close as you want. Well, I think the rules are you cannot camp within 15 feet of another trailer or vehicle, and that's because I think I heard somewhere is they want people not to come in and set up right beside them because somebody's gonna get mad, and so they want a break in between. But you can camp anywhere out here that you can get in the area. They have toilets that are all over, and the toilets are made for those people who don't have facilities like in their cars or vans, and you have to camp within 500 feet of a toilet facility if you don't have the facilities in your vehicle. So that's just part of it, but there's lots of things to do out here. There's amazing sunsets. We're not down yet, but you can see the sun's gonna be off this way. There's amazing sunsets when the clouds are in the right direction. The rain in the desert comes through. We've had rain for the last day or two, and it just brings a whole different aura to the desert. It's got a different smell to it and views. And right now, the wildflowers are kind of on their way out. They've been really pretty the last couple of weeks, but they're just the greenery of the desert has been amazing to me. Of how to see the desert come to life and see what it looks like, because it was basically was when I got here in December pretty dead. It'd been hot for many weeks, and a couple of rains, and it's just amazing what the water does out here. I know it doesn't last long because in a few more weeks it's going to be 80 to 100 degrees in a couple months. That's going to be the end of the growing season. But there's some things to do, lots of open space, and there's a lot of mountains. It's a really pretty area for being Arizona. You know, Arizona you think could be flat desert, but I've been impressed with Arizona. It's got a lot of nice scenery from the desert to the mountains. And, you know, we're at 913 feet. Yuma, I think, is at 600 feet. But you go north and you're at 8,000 feet. So it's really just a very diverse area for to be in. But it's nice. We'll pan across. Here's some of the ATV trails in the mountains, and we're going to blind you with the sun, but there's the sun going behind the mountains. So there's a lot of open spaces out here. And so far, have not seen any rattlesnakes or heard any rattlesnakes. But we're going to keep our eyes and our ears open, and hopefully we don't come across one too closely. If we do, we're definitely getting on camera. And you might ask, how's the cell service out here on your cell phone? I use Verizon, and it's pretty good. It's kind of slow sometimes. The internet is a little slow, but I've heard other people who have other the carriers, T-Mobile and the AT&T, are usually pretty good too. The only thing that really slows down is whenever January comes around. It's when the biggest month in Quartzsite is when they have all the events, the big tent show, the RV show, everything is just loaded, and there's tons of people here that the broadband just can't handle all the carriers, and it slows down to a crawl. So that's something to think about. If you have Starlink or something else, you're probably good. But if you're just relying on your cell phone, you'll have a couple times that you're going to be kind of dragging. So just let you know. But right now, you go on the bus in the evening, and I can watch YouTube and different things off of my phone. So streaming pretty good, but because there's a lot of less people here. So just remember, the more people equals more slowdown. So that's how the cell phone signal is. There you go. One thing I forgot to add, I don't like out here as much, as we watch this nice sunset over the mountain, is the dust. It is a desert. There is dust everywhere, everywhere. If you're not a fan of dust in your vehicle or in your hair or your clothes or whatever, you're not going to like the desert. There's dust everywhere. And it rained yesterday, and today there's dust again. It dries out very quickly out here. So the dust is a big event. I mean, it doesn't really bother me too much. I've got a dog, so I've got lots of dog hair, and I've got dog hair and dust, so it just makes the sweeping easier. But the dust is a big factor. If you have allergies or some issues with a lot of blowing dust, and you do have blowing dust because it will be sometimes very windy and cause some dust storms. So just think about that in the thought processes. And we're fading. And we're back from our walk. And let me tell you what I maybe like and dislike about Quartzsite. Like I said, it's a beautiful sunsets, as you can see over my shoulder. They're just starting to come around. They're not been so great lately because the clouds haven't been around, but they look a lot like these. I'll put a couple of pictures up there. But Quartzsite is a very quiet town. It's on I-10. It's Interstate 10 drives right through the middle of town. It's very peaceful. It's very nomad friendly. It's very welcoming, and I really haven't had any problems with anything in Quartzsite. The people have been nice. The people in the campground are nice. You meet new friends, and you can camp anywhere you want out here, and you can camp close, you can camp far. So there's lots of things to do if you want to do it. If you don't want to do things, then you can stay at your camper or stay at your campsite and enjoy the peace and quiet of your own area. Some things I haven't liked is gas prices and fuel prices a little higher because it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's one of the last stops before you get to California, where prices are $1.20 to $1.50 per gallon higher once you cross the state line 20 miles away. And the groceries a little higher, but it's understandable because you're in the middle of no place out here. And if you can come out to your area and camp, whether it's in the LTVA or the BLM land, which you can do for 2 weeks at a time. If you don't have to drive 40, 80, 100 miles to get groceries, the money you save on fuel definitely offsets what you would spend on a few dollars here and there for more for groceries and things in town. But it's a nice town, and I can say this, that I'll be back here in the fall. I would say next year, but this is April. But next fall, which should be here in a few months, I'll probably be back around here, maybe November, December, depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing. The nice thing about being on the road in your vehicle, there's no schedules, so you can be here anytime. So that's it. Enjoy the little sunset we have, and we'll see everybody on down the road.